I could freestyle about it, preach about it, or go off top of the head. But today I bought my notes so I could resurrect the dead. Yeah! Greetings and blessings to my navigators of the seven seas. I am your locksmith, your symbologist, and metaphysical tour guide, Flat Archie 5000. And I'm back with another one as we navigate through the land of Pineal. Today we're going to unlock your Solomon's Temple to explore the God of Hollywood. So as always, strap on your helmet and buckle up your spacesuit because we're on a mental voyage and we're about to take off before the walls of Jericho come crumbling down. In the tradition of entering Solomon's Temple, we must use a meditative master key to help us stay on the path of enlightenment. It is these divine words that have a literal, allegorical, and metaphysical message attached to them when understood in its proper context. So today we give honors and respect to the French poet and art critic whom was known as Charles Baudelaire. Baudelaire, I think that's how you pronounce it. Charles Baudelaire. That's it. Charles Baudelaire. Who once said the greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing the world he didn't exist. Who ever seen that movie, Usual Suspect? That's the first time I heard that quote, was in the movie Usual Suspect. What's his old boy name? Oh boy, that the crippled dude. Can't remember his name. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. But let me repeat it one more time for those of you who woke up late and failed to receive the memo. Charles Baudelaire said the greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing the world he didn't exist. That's deep right there. A lot of people they don't know. They think the devil exists in the ground maybe. They just think, the devil is just a figment of an imagination. But we're gonna explore that. We're going to get to the bottom of this right here. Specifically, the God of Hollywood and, these blood sacrifices. But anyway, go on and meditate on that and click your heels 3 times while I ring this bell of enlightenment for that powerful meditative key of wisdom as you enter the corridors of your Solomon's Temple. I might have to get me another bell. They ain't really got the juice that I needed to have when I needed to call. I need to make the roll call. It's coming up short on the juice. But anyway, I digress. Let's get to it, shall we? No time to waste. Okay, masterminds of the 7 seas, we must take note that the concept of a blood sacrifice is an ancient one, dating back to prehistoric times. It is deeply rooted in the belief systems of many cultures, often involving the offering of an animal or human life to a deity or supernatural power. In ancient Mesopotamia, for instance, blood sacrifices were common. The Sumerians and Babylonians believed that the shedding of blood could appease their gods and ensure fertility, protection, and prosperity. Also, in Egypt, animals were often sacrificed during religious ceremonies to honor their gods. The Mayans and Aztecs in Mesoamerica also practiced blood sacrifices extensively. They believed that human blood was a potent source of nourishment for their gods, and particularly during rituals aimed at ensuring the continuity of a world and the movement of the sun. Let me say that one more time. The Mayans and Aztecs in Mesoamerica also practiced blood sacrifices extensively. They believed that human blood was a potent source of nourishment for their gods, particularly during rituals aimed at ensuring the continuity of the world and the movement of the sun. They literally believed that the world would come to an end if they didn't appease their gods. So blood sacrifices was a necessary evil in order to sustain life on the planet, as well as make their gods happy, those that they believed in, Quizzicoats and things of that nature. In some African cultures, such as the Yoruba and the Dahomey, blood sacrifices were performed to communicate with the divine, to seek protection or heal sickness. In these societies, it was believed that the spirit of the sacrificed animal or person would carry the message to the gods. Now that's deep right there. Because if you're sacrificing a person or you're sacrificing something, you know, and you have it in your mind that this sacrifice is going to send a message to these divine entities, you know, I'm pretty sure you got a lot of messages that need to be sent. You know, it ain't just a one-hitter quitter. You got messages on a day-to-day basis. You communicating to these guys. It's like, you know, for those of you who pray, you know, you praying to your God. You get on your knees, you know, you pray, you stand up, you pray, however, you know, whatever you do. You know what I'm saying? You're sending messages to your God however you perceive this God. You know what I'm saying? So if they need to receive message, if their God need to receive messages, then this was the process that they did. So blood sacrifices, once again, was a necessary evil. In Europe, during the Viking era, human and animal sacrifices were part of their religious rituals, aimed at appeasing their gods and ensuring victory in battles. The Druids, a Celtic religious group, also known to have practiced human sacrifices. However, it's important to note that the interpretation and context of these practices vary greatly among cultures and time periods. While some viewed it as a necessary act to maintain balance and order, others saw it as a brutal and horrific practice. For example, in ancient Babylon, the Canaanites, specifically the fraction known as the Ammonites, were said to have worshipped the god Moloch. Moloch is a Carthaginian god who embodies the male principle and destructive power of the sun. Additionally, Moloch is portrayed as the husband of the Carthaginian goddess Tanit. The cult of Moloch, or Molech, is said to have boiled children alive in the bowels of a big bronze statue with the body of a man and the head of a bull. Now, mind you, if you're not familiar with Carthage, Hannibal of Carthage. So if you're familiar with Hannibal, you know the Hannibal, then you would know a little bit about Carthage. So when we hear about Hollywood blood sacrifices, let's not think for one moment that these are far-fetched ideas that the entertainment industry is not flooded with. Keep in mind, the rich and powerful people of Hollywood are well versed in history and esoteric science, and many of them thrive off of mind control while waving the magical wand of spiritual aspects that are not known or misunderstood by the general masses. Many of them are part of secret societies known as Satanists, Luciferians, Knights of Columbus, Knights of Malta, Skull and Bones, the Order of the Golden Fleece, Order of Coronia, Independent, another organization called the Independent Order of Oddfellows, the Religion of Thelema, the Order of Nine Angels, the Temple of Black Light, and many, many more. Many of these occultists have a strong passion to carry out many of these ancient practices and traditions. Their motivation is rooted in tapping into and manipulating various vibrational frequencies to bring about specific manifestations. It's the blood, you see, my master builders of Solomon's temple. It's the blood that they seek. It's the blood that acts as a conduit between the physical and spiritual realms. It is the blood that is used to amplify intentions and energize magical workings. Its unique properties, both physical and metaphysical, make it an effective tool in spell casting and divinations practices. Through the use of blood, they can infuse their intentions with concentrated energy, thereby enhancing their ability to manifest desired outcomes. Let's get to it, shall we? The bigger the star is equivalent to the value of the sacrifice. Let me say it one more time. The bigger the star is equivalent to the value of the sacrifice. Just imagine for a moment the value of a blood sacrifice with famous people such as Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, Prince, Aaliyah, Tupac, Biggie, or even Kane, or even Sam Cooke. The energy that can be invoked through a ritual can be monstrous. That reminds me of the Cain and Abel story, where they were required to give a sacrifice to God, right? It was Abel that gave the best of what he had to offer. He gave the best of his flock. He gave the best of his vegetation. And then you had Cain. Cain was the one who gave the worst of what he gave, the worst of what he had. He was selfish. So this whole idea of offering the best of what you can offer to your gods is seen as a ritual of acceptance. So you have those that give, mediocre, you're going to get possibly mediocre results. If you're giving the best of what you have to offer, is based upon your intentions. You know what I'm saying? Based upon your intentions. If okay, but I digress. Just had to throw that jewel out there and make a correlation. Yet and still, in many cases, you don't necessarily have to be a famous star to be sacrificed. You can simply be a relative, associate, or close friend to one who participates in these rituals. And that's simply the cost of doing business with these malevolent entities. Ultimately, what's important is the blood that is the energy source sought after to invoke and conjure up such spirits to bring about specific manifestations. It is the traditions of the Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, Mayans, Aztecs, Incas, Persians, and Sumerians that are the foundation and basis of all authentic occult secret science societies today. In respect to placing a microscope on Hollywood, the place of big dreams where illusions become reality at the snap of a finger, with the roll call of lights, camera, and action. We must keep in mind that the god of Hollywood is Osiris, known as Osir. Osiris is associated with fertility, agriculture, the afterlife, death, resurrection, life, and vegetation. This Osiris has many forms in different cultures. In Rome, he's Pluto and Bacchus. Bacchus, I think that's how you pronounce it, Bacchus. In India, he's Yama. In Greece, he is Dionysius. In the Bible, he's associated with Jesus in various aspects. And keep in mind, Jesus is also associated with Horus, Mithra, and Krishna. Jesus has different aspects, different identities, and different cultures. So he has different manifestations. Not just the Christian version, what most people are familiar with. He's not known by Jesus in different cultures. He has a whole different story in different cultures, but they're all synonymous stories. But I digress one more time, because Flat Archie gonna give it to you the way it's supposed to be given to you. I'm gonna give it to you on a silver dish. But this demonstration, we must zoom in on the Greek aspect of Osiris, which is Dionysus, whom is associated with god of winemaking, orchards, and fruit, vegetation, fertility, festivity, insanity, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. Okay, masterminds of Solomon's Temple, we're about to hammer this foundation down to the ground by bringing awareness to the fact that the tradition of Western theater was literally created by Dionysus. Dionysus is a Greek god, the child of Hercules and Semele. Keep in mind that Greek theater began as a religious practice, as much a form of worship as entertainment. It evolved from the singing of dithyrambics, hymns, to Dionysus that would be sung by a chorus of masked dancers. Keep in mind mass, because I'm about to tie this in right here. We have dancers that's walking around, that's dancing around with masks on. The word chorus means choros, refers to dance or to a place for dancing. Hence, choreography. You see, choros, choreography. Thus, he is the god of choreography. The worship of Dionysus was a central aspect of ancient Greek and Roman religion, characterized by vibrant and ecstatic rituals. Blood sacrifices played a significant role in these rites, symbolizing the connection between the divine, the natural world, and the community. Animals, such as goats, sheep, and bulls, were commonly used as sacrificial animals. The act of sacrificing an animal was believed to release its life force and essence, offering it to Dionysus as a gesture of devotion and reverence. The blood of the sacrificed animal was considered a potent symbol of life energy, fostering a spiritual connection with the god. See the connection? God acts as blood acts as a personal offering, a means of surrendering a part of oneself to the divine forces in which they seek to commune with. It signifies their willingness to sacrifice for spiritual growth and the spiritual devotion they have towards their chosen path. Dionysus rituals often involved music, orgies, dance, and the consumption of wine, which were believed to induce altered states of consciousness and transcendence. Participants sought to honor Dionysus and experience a sense of spiritual union and catharsis, embracing the ecstatic nature of the god's worship. Who's seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut? For those of you who've seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut, you know exactly where I'm going with this demonstration. Question: what god do you think they were worshiping in their sex rituals and sacrifices? Dionysus represents humans in their most cruel and carnal nature. Those who worship him are extremists to total submission and instinct. You can see him in art with a pine cone scepter or riding upon a panther. He is also a patron god of hermaphrodites and transvestites. He embodies all genders under the rainbow. Okay? In the year 480 BC, Themistocles, let me say it again. Say his name again. Themistocles sacrificed 3 Persian captives to Dionysus, whom were human scapegoats called pharmakoi. This was a yearly act, and in many cases, girls were hunted down, sacrificed, and cannibalized to the Greek gods in which to earn their favors. Once again, earning favors. The entertainers and athletes of today who participate in these rituals, in which many of them, if not most of them, have no understanding of. They are nothing more than paid pawns and puppets. They are used as sex toys in many cases in order to rise higher in the industry of fame and fortune. They are required to offer up a blood sacrifice to the elites, who will use the sacrifice as a bargaining tool to commune with such deities as Dionysus, whom require such forms of trade. Take note, my masterminds, that the time of day and month of such sacrifices is infinitely important, for it must be aligned with a specific frequency associated with a specific color and deity. Names and birth dates of such individuals who are to be sacrificed also play an important role in these rituals. Remember, Jesus, who is another aspect of Osirus, once said in Luke 22:19, verse 20, "Then he took a loaf of bread, and when he has given thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, 'This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me.' And he did the same with the cup after supper, saying, 'This cup that is poured out for you is the new covenant in my blood.'" Let me say that one more time. In Luke 22:19, verse 20, when he took a loaf of bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And he did the same with the cup after supper, saying, "This cup that is poured out for you is the new covenant in my blood." So here we have it. Blood is the holy elixir and conduit used to make covenants, deals, and pacts. Those in Hollywood take these quotes literally, and it is an offering up of human blood that is the ultimate sacrifice. Animal blood is symbolic as well. You know, animal blood is good. It'll get, results, as you would, as they would say. But human blood is more potent and more divine in spirit. So if you're really trying to get your requests answered, or whatever it is that you're seeking to get from these deities, if that's what you're into, you're going to offer up the best of what you got to offer on this planet, and that's human blood. Most times you see your celebrities You hail and praise them, and when you ask them for advice or for tips on how to succeed, they tell you to work hard and believe in yourself. They will never reveal to you the wicked things that they do to get to the top and how desperate they are for fame and fortune. Most of these so-called celebrities smiling in public on a red carpet, but some of them have dirty, dark secrets carried out through rituals that would make Jeffrey Dahmer and Charles Manson look like modern-day Boy Scouts. Many of these iconic figures smile for the cameras and cry in the dark where no one sees them. They are constantly haunted and tortured by their malevolent deeds, specifically if you have a conscience. Now, if you ain't got a conscience, then, you can give two damns about, who you sacrifice and the price you had to pay for your fame and fortune. But if you still have a soul and you have consciousness in you, if you sacrificing your cousin, you sacrificing your best friend, yeah, you're getting the money, you're getting the fame, you're getting the fortune, but your conscience is going to haunt you. We hear stories all the time about, these people in Hollywood and the industry that's, they soon seems like they get to the top, they go crazy. But I digress one more time. Many of these iconic figures smile for the cameras and cry in the dark when no one sees them. They are constantly haunted and tortured by their malevolent deeds. When I'm talking about Hollywood, I'm not just referring to those in the movie industry. I'm also talking about those in music, sports, talk TV shows, politics, and etc. Keep in mind, most of these celebrities you see suddenly became famous right after they lost someone in their family, a close friend, someone they are dating, etc. Now, some people might say that people die every day, so therefore it's just a coincidence, but it's much more deeper than you know. They pledge someone they love as a sacrifice. This is a bargaining tool of trade when you bow and pledge at the feet of Dionysus or one of his many forms. So as always, in Solomon's temple, I leave you in peace with these powerful words. Those who follow the darkness get consumed by it, and those who follow the light become it. Let me say it one more time. Flat out, you got to give it to you straight. Those who follow the darkness get consumed by it, and those who follow the light become it. Ashe, ashe, ashe.